Welcome into the show. Mick Walker on the other side of your screen. I'm Spencer Holbrook. We are going to talk a lot of Ohio State football this week. We're going to talk a lot previews, picks, predictions for Grambling Ohio State. I know that's what's on everyone's mind. We've moved past the Texas game. I'm completely kidding, Mick. We are not moved past the Texas game. It's Grambling week. Not the sexiest matchup on the slate. Ohio State welcoming an HBCU in for just the second time ever. Should be a good halftime with the bands. Everybody's very excited for that. Mickey Joseph, Grambling's head coach, said that their band is going to compete really hard. He also said, Mick, that he knows what they're getting into. So I think everybody knows the deal here. We're not hiding from it. Even Ryan Day, really on Wednesday night, was not hiding from it. First of all, happy Grambling week. Happy week 2 of college football. How are you? And second of all, how are you feeling about this week?
I'm feeling great. I had my wedding anniversary, my 3-year anniversary on Tuesday, so that was the more important thing. Or Wednesday for those, so that was the more important thing for me. You were there in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center to hear Ryan Day talk to the media about his latest updates on the team, and obviously got to share a cool nugget about how Larry Johnson spoke with the team about Eddie Robinson and the different history with Grambling. So that was a cool thing to kind of read about in the aftermath. But overall, it's been a good week, just kind of balancing the aftermath of the Texas game and looking forward to this primetime matchup. We got a 3:30 in the shoot.
Yeah, I would call 3:30 prime time, especially for Ohio State. There's not a lot of give and take there. When you get a game that's not at noon, you got to take advantage of it. So I'd call that prime time for Ohio State. That's fine. Little anxious to see what the Horseshoe looks like on Saturday, just because it was so amped up for the Texas game. I think there is a little bit of that hangover factor on Saturday at 3:30. I think better tailgating scene, though, just because you'll have more time to set up shop and actually do the tailgating rather than getting there at 4 a.m. and having to set up that way. I don't know, man. It's a Saturday in the Horseshoe. It's really hard to complain. We only get 6 or 7 of these a year, and so I'm not gonna sit here and lament going to the Horseshoe about Ohio State Grambling. One thing okay. So the topic of this show, Mick, for today is things that we want to see. So let's just dive right in. I'm going to give you the honors on the tee box. You're a decent little golfer there. You got a nice little buttery swing. What are you most looking forward to seeing? Whether that's an improvement or something that still needs to be answered, or somebody that you want to see, a freshman. Number one priority that you want to see in the Horseshoe on Saturday when Ohio State and Grambling meet.
I just want to see Julian Sayin get into rhythm. Like there was a little bit there in the third quarter on that touchdown drive to Carnell where they kind of got things moving a little bit more, but still there wasn't a stretch in the Texas game where they really allowed him to open it up and not even chuck it downfield, but just kind of get 3 or 4 throws in a row. Because I mean, when you're at your own 1 yard line, you really can't air it out all that much, knowing full well what could happen if you do. So they didn't really ever give him an opportunity to air it out and get it all over the field of these weapons, whether it's Max Clare or Jeremiah Smith or Carnell Tate or even some of the running backs out of the backfield. So I just want to see him get into the rhythm, maybe start, 5 for 5, 10 for 10, something along those lines where it just looks like he's dialed in, ready to go, and you can go, okay, this is the guy that's ready for his first Big Ten game here later this month.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I'm sticking on the offensive side. My number one priority is I want to see this run game. I wrote a story for lettermenrow.com on Thursday that is the concern level for different stats that we saw from Ohio State versus Texas. One of them, I dug into the numbers a little bit. Julian Sayin had an average depth of target, or as the folks in the business call it, ADOT, of 6.2 yards. It's the lowest ADOT in a single game under Ryan Day since 2018 when Dwayne Haskins had a 5.8 against Penn State on the road. So common denominators there. Julian Sayin's first ever start came against Texas, one of the best defenses in the country. That 2018 Penn State game was Dwayne Haskins' first start on the road in a hostile environment. And so you kind of ease your quarterback into it. I don't think they'll be doing that against Grambling. I think they're going to let Julian Sayin uncork it a little bit. In that same vein, though, of letting these guys loose and letting them uncork it a little bit, I think this run game's got to get going. I just think there needs to be some confidence building. The offensive line is riding high right now. They're very confident. They thought they blocked Texas up pretty well, from what I gather, even in the run game that averaged 2.3 yards a carry, which, newsflash, that's not good enough. Even against a front like Texas, you want to be able to average at least 3 yards a pop, get some things going on first down. They had an average of 2nd and 7. I don't think that's an area you want to live in for the first-time quarterback. And so, if you can get into some 2nd and 3s, 2nd and 4s, even, they had 0 first downs on first down on Saturday. So they were never moving the sticks immediately. and getting Julian Sayin into that rhythm, letting the offense start to cook a little bit. That's a recipe for disaster. I don't think that's going to be the case against Grambling, but I also want to see these running backs hit holes. The holes were there at times against Texas when you watch that. I think there were times where James Peoples was pressing a little bit and missed a cutback lane or a lane in general. I think there were times where C.J. Donaldson could have got 2 or 3 extra yards on top of the hard running that he was doing. I want to see this run game improve. And I thought the offensive line did a really good job in the run game against a really stout Texas front, but I think there was some meat left on that bone that Ohio State can kind of start to chew off a little bit in games 2 and 3 against Grambling and Ohio before you go on the road and you're going to have to establish the run when you're on the road at Washington. So I want to see this run game start to take a step forward. Will it mean anything if they run for 289 yards and 4 touchdowns on Saturday? To be honest, probably not. But I think it would be good for James Peoples' confidence and for C.J. Donaldson just to show, like, yeah, we're here. We can do this. We can fill in for Quinton Judkins and Travion Henderson and do a really good job in this run game. I'm anxious to see how they look on Saturday.
100%. And then you have obviously left side, strong side. That's where Luke Montgomery, Austin Saravet are. Those are where your big guys are. Those are the people you trust when things are the tightest and you get down there on the goal line. That's what they did on the 4th and 1, kind of put it behind those guys and told them to go make a block, make a play. But still, you want to be able to run the ball behind Phillip Daniels or whoever's at right guard, whether it's Tigger Shabola or Ethan Oniyanwa. So getting those guys in rhythm a little bit too, because I believe it was about a 2-to-1 ratio run to the left side compared to the right side. And that just, you can't have that situation knowing that, if they're going to be able to run the ball, it's going to have to go to the left side. So that's got to change a little bit going forward. So I'll be fascinated to see if they can, I don't know if it's diversify is the right word, or just use the run game in different ways and attack different areas of the field with it, because there's a lot more opportunity there. If you can use both sides of the field, you can run some different stuff. And I think Tyler Bowen's probably got a little bit of a bag on some of that stuff, so maybe they can let him open it up a little bit.
Yeah, should be fun. Let's flip it over. What do you want to see from this defense?
I said it on the Lettermen Lounge message board, $1 for your first 7 days. You can come on there and chat with us about it. But
oh, really?
I just want to see, honestly, and it's weird to say because it's going to be vanilla. It's probably just going to be like 2 high safeties, like do very basic things. But I just want to see when it's very vanilla and when it's basic, like what does Matt Patricia just hang his hat on? Like when does he kind of decide where he wants to spice it up a little bit? What does it look like when you can go basic and just have Caleb Downs patrol the middle of because that's the interesting thing is you have guys like Caleb Downs where even when you want to go basic, you can throw a little flair into it because he can handle so much on his plate. You can use Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese in different ways just because they can do so many different things. So even when he has to go basic or a simple defense against Grambling, like what do they throw out against the Tigers here on Saturday night?
Yeah, what's Matt Patricia's bread and butter? Like, what's he hanging? Like you said, what's he hanging his hat on? We have no idea. There were so many exotics against Texas, and you're going to go back to basics against Grambling, and maybe not as much against Ohio because I think Parker Navarro and that Bobcats offense has some juice based on what we saw against Rutgers last week. So, maybe you're not as vanilla against Ohio, but against Grambling, you're probably going to be as vanilla as possible. But then again, we don't know if, Matt Patricia's vanilla is vanilla bean, or if it's French vanilla, or if it's just standard default vanilla extract. Is it a vanilla bean stalk? Is it, what is it? Vanilla paste? I don't know what his vanilla is because we haven't seen him call a college defense. And in the NFL, there's no such thing as taking a week where you go vanilla, unless you're playing against like the Orlovsky Lions from like 2008. So, I just don't know. And so that is super interesting to me. Like, what is Matt? If you say, we didn't really show them a lot in this game, well, we still don't know what Matt Patricia is going to show because he's never done this before against a Grambling. He's never played an FCS opponent. So, yeah, I think that's a great one. My big thing that I want to see from the defense is the young guys. I do not care to see Jermaine Matthews and Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese and Kenyatta Jackson. I don't know if he'll play or Caden Curry, even Edric Houston. Caleb Downs. It sounds bad, but I just don't care. I don't care to see them play on Saturday. I know that they're really good. I know that this defense is going to shut Grambling down. If it doesn't, we have serious, serious problems. I want to see Riley Pettijohn and Jarquez Carter and Eric Mensah even and Epi Sitanale and Zion Grady and Aaron Scott and Bryce West and Leroy Roker and all of those guys who are the second and third string players who need the reps in a game like this. You might not get many of these at all, but they need the reps. And so that's where my attention goes on this defense is like, first of all, what's the second team unit look like when they trot it out there for the first time? And second of all, what's the third team unit look like when they trot it out there? And which guys start to flash against Grambling? Because, the stars of tomorrow are going to be on the field in the second half today. And so I'm excited to see what they look like.
And it's probably going to be their only time to play. Like, obviously, many of them will play on special teams, and that's an important role. And you have to do that at Ohio State to get on the field and probably may earn a primary starting spot. But for a lot of these guys, it's going to be the only handful of snaps they get to play of actual, real, hardcore football all season. Maybe, obviously, like you mentioned, the Ohio game. Maybe there's some games down the line against like a Rutgers or a UCLA where you get to play like more of the bottom of the bench guys. But still, like, these guys are going for playing 10, 15 games a year in high school football and being the guy to playing 10, 15 snaps in 2 games, and that's the only game action you see. How do you handle that? How do you maximize it? How do you use that as the way to prepare you for next season and beyond? Like, that's the most important thing for these guys, and we really can't quantify or measure it, but it is, like you said, one of the more interesting and fascinating things to watch on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see it. We'll be there in action. Lettermen Row will be there covering the game in full force because it is still an Ohio State game day. You can be part of the action through Game Time because I don't know if you know this, Mick, but the Game Time app gives you the ability to take the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included. So what you see is what you pay for. Okay? You can just use the Game Time app in different ways. You can customize your spot. It's super easy to use the Game Time app. And again, I cannot stress enough, Mick, you log on to these other ticketing apps, unnamed ticketing apps, and all of a sudden you're getting charged a convenience fee and a shipping fee, even though it's on your phone, and a tax on this and a tax on that. It almost feels like King George is running the joint over there at those ticketing apps. All of a sudden you're up $100 compared to what you thought you were going to pay. Not Game Time. What you see is what you pay for. Over on the Game Time app and at gametime.co. You can even hit favorites. You can do zone deals, snag new tickets the days before anyone else by finding your favorite team in the Game Time app, and you can receive alerts on tickets. That's what the favorites thing does. Zone deals save even more. You choose a section, and Game Time will choose your seats for you with the best deal. I think that's awesome. Like, that's a feature that more people should be using. And guess what, Mick? I'm looking right now at the Game Time at gametime.co, and I'm seeing $36 tickets up in B deck. I'm seeing double A deck for $108. You're as close to the field as you'll ever be at Ohio Stadium. Under $50 to sit in A deck over on the Game Time app. And it gets better, Mick, because right now, if you go to gametime.co or use the Game Time app, you can use the code ON3, you get $20 off your first purchase. That's ON3 for your first purchase, $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go download the Game Time app today. Use the code ON3, ON3. For $20 off your first purchase at gametime.co, that's gametime.co, or on the Game Time app. Come join the fun over in the Horseshoe on Saturday through the Game Time app or at gametime.co. Thanks to our partners over at Game Time. Mick, what are we thinking? What's the Horseshoe going to be like on Saturday?
I'm interested to see what it's like. A little, like we said, later kickoff, 3:00. Like, they used last week. Obviously, it's a big game. Like, you have to maximize that, but they saw some of these new traditions, these new things in the shoe go through. Like, what can they change, update, or even improve for this next game as you get ready for what we'll be back in the shoe October 4th. Is that when we get back in there after these next couple of weeks? Obviously, get back there October 4th for the Minnesota game. So what can you learn these next couple of weeks to improve it? Whether that's changing songs, changing lineups of the day, like changing like light shows or smoke, whatever it's going to be. Like, I'm just fascinated to see how the environment is. I know the fans will show up. Obviously, I don't think anybody expects it to look like the Texas game, and whether that can be for that whole game or a half or a quarter. Like, everybody that can show up should show up. Like you mentioned, the tickets on Game Time. Get your tickets there, get a good deal on them, and come to the shoe to kind of see what this game is like against, like you said, a good team in the FCS ranks, a good band. Like, just get a feel for what this game is going to be like, and what Ohio State could have this season.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal, Mick. Ohio State played Texas. Now it's Grambling in Ohio. After the next 2 weeks, the home slate will be almost halfway over. There's 7 home games this year. 3 of them are in the first 3 weeks of the season. So you have to take advantage of them. And it's the best weather of the year, too. Like, yeah, that October 4th game against Minnesota, the weather could be immaculate. But that's the only home game in October. And after the Ohio game, you're not getting another home game in September. And then you've got 3 home games in November, and 2 of them could be blistering cold. So go out, enjoy a home game while you don't have to wear a lot of clothes and you don't have to bundle up.
You still have to wear some clothes, folks. That's your policy.
Yeah, I thought this was America. You have to wear a little bit of clothes, I guess. But you know what I mean? Like, it's still really nice out. Like, you don't have to put on a coat to go to an Ohio State game. How great is that? You only get like 4 of those a year. One of them's already done. So you got 2 more, then the bye week, then Minnesota. You probably might have to bring a little jacket to that Minnesota game. But that's okay. But this one should be really fun. And again, you're going to get a really cool band show. All your favorite players are going to be there. And also all the young guys that you've heard about from Mick Walker and Jeremy Birmingham and Alex Gleitman over at LettermenRow.com, $1 for your first 7 days. They're all going to be on display as well because they're probably going to get some action throughout the entire second half. So I encourage Ohio State fans to make the most of this afternoon and go have fun at the Horseshoe. And to do it at a really low price can be nice. Truth be told, I've never been to an Ohio State game with my family. Why? They are expensive. They are. We are blessed that we get in for free, so we can cover the Ohio State Buckeyes for you 365 days a year over at LettermenRow.com. But not everybody gets that privilege. So, and we fully understand that. So if you can, go buy a cheap ticket. Go to the Horseshoe. You won't regret it. So anything else, Mick, that you want to see from the Buckeyes on Saturday? I will tell you I want to see the punters. I'd love to see Joe McGuire connect on a couple more 50-yard bombs. He had 2. He kind of bookended the game with 2 good punts, 50 yards, 55 yards, 50 yards in the first quarter, 55 in the fourth quarter. But other than that, it was like 30, 40, 42, and 43. That's not good enough. So I want to see the punters.
Yeah, it's punters, freshmen, just the base level of stuff. We mentioned Matt Patricia, the vanilla defense on what you can look like. What does Brian Hartline's offense look like when they actually get into it? We mentioned Julian Sayin getting a rhythm, but like, what does it look like when Brian Hartline gets to just kind of freely call a game, knowing that there's not a lot of consequences or weight on it like there was in Texas? Like, he can be, to flip Ryan Day's words on his own head, like he can be somewhat selfish in this game and see what he really likes or what he doesn't like. Like, how will that go? I don't know. And that'll be one of the more interesting things as well. Just the overall way the game plays out is probably one of the most fascinating things. And the result, like whether it's 1,000,000 to nothing or 1,000,000 to 1, like it doesn't really matter the result. I just want to see how everything looks from the first whistle to the last one.
Yeah, it's going to be like a 49-7 or 49-3 type of game. So does it look like a good, clean 49-3 or 49-7, or does it look like a sloppy one? And so I think that's where we can kind of end this. A little bit of a different week. We fully understand that. We're not trying to do this just like the Texas game because it just isn't. But it's a good data point for Ohio State to see where they're at with some of the young guys, see what the depth chart looks like behind these starters. And, of course, it's a good opportunity to be in the Horseshoe. Lettermen Row will be in the Horseshoe on Saturday for Ohio State and Grambling State. Should be a good time. Make sure to stay in your seats for halftime. It should be a great show from the Ohio State band and the alumni band and the Grambling State band. It's going to be a great time. I'm really looking forward to it. Mick Walker over there on the other side of your screen. He's going to get over to Nashville, cover some recruiting. I'm going to stay here in Columbus and gear up for Ohio State and Grambling. We'll see you guys in the Horseshoe on Saturday, and we'll see you over at LettermenRow.com.